Welcome everyone to the 13th episode of the Experiment Floor. Today, as part of our 13th examination episode, we will be joined by Chief Engineer Ero as we examine the combat and field characteristics of the Wave Beam. The Wave Beam is a unique beam weapon system that was initially developed by the Chozo and is known to be best compatible with Chozo armor suits above all others. And while some of its effects have been reverse engineered, replicated weapon systems tend to not have the same power, firing rate, or after effects that this weapon can otherwise demonstrate. The Wave Beam is a well-known weapon system, and is one of the few that has managed to have some aspects of it successfully copied by a few groups outside the Chozo. The Wave Beam is an electrically powered beam weapon that harnesses the electromagnetic energy of both the possessor's surroundings and their own armor suit to generate and fire bursts of electromagnetic energy in a variety of forms depending on the model of the wave beam being used. Though most commonly, it comes in the form of a ball of pure electrical energy not too dissimilar from that of ball lightning, creating an energy projectile that seems to careen on a wave-like path as it moves through the air. However, it has also been seen to exist in the form of twisted energy beams and even a trio of spherical bursts that move and pulse together as a trio as they fly through the air towards a target. Its charged shot commonly comes in the form of a larger, more powerful iteration of this model, with some having minor homing capabilities in turn. The use of electrical energy for a weapon like this allows the beam to bypass certain obstacles and make itself into a unique beam weapon that can make short work of anything that might be vulnerable to the damaging effects of electricity. This beam weapon is able to use the electromagnetic energy that fuels it to electrify and damage anything that comes into contact with it, with the electrical energy making it particularly effective at damaging towards mechanical enemies and energy-based entities. In some cases, a charged energy shot from this weapon will produce a ball of electromagnetic energy that can not only fall targets that have been locked onto by following their own electrical signatures, but anything that isn't killed by the initial shot will be electrocuted and stunned for a short period of time, making it easier to finish off a target. Lastly, because of the power of electromagnetic energy used to fuel the weapon, its shots have the capacity to merge with and pass through solid objects, though its best effects tend to come with translucent objects, which the beam can penetrate readily without any issues at all, thus making it possible to strike switches and other apparatuses that might otherwise be partially obstructed.
Electricity can be both a friend and a foe, and in the case of this weapon, it can more than fill both of those roles and make itself a serious issue that most will have a hard time avoiding. It is true that the really wonky energy-free iteration of this weapon could actually be a bit unwieldy to use because of the weird way in which the projectile itself moved, but later versions of the wave beam could take its wall-penetrating power and make it a much more useful weapon for both electrifying enemies and getting past doors, gates, and switches that might otherwise be impossible to access and open normally. And given it could make short work of energy-based creatures like the Atomic, it was a welcome weapon for dealing with artificial enemies and robots alike. Personally though, I prefer the iteration that was found by the Hunter on Talon 4. We got the chance to actually test and use that sort of weaponry in later forces, albeit heavily modified it, more like that of the classic version, making the best of both worlds. I even got the chance to try and test one on another mate during my time at Glacier 1, and it was a ton of fun. I sort of miss those days sometimes. But this real life beats freezing in the cold, and given I can still play with it in simulations, it ain't so bad of a change.
Thank you for attending this presentation on the Experiment Floor. Electricity isn't always the safest friend to have around, but given that it can be punishing to both flesh and machine alike, the wave beam's energetic properties can make it an effective weapon for taking care of anything that isn't well protected from shock damage. Of course, there's a good chance that hiding behind an object for protection wouldn't end up mattering anyways, since the capacity for this weapon to pass right through solid objects makes it almost impossible to totally ignore. Thank you all for watching this video. We here at Space Pirate Science Team take our work very seriously, and we genuinely wish to be as informative as possible when it comes to the work we conduct here, for both ourselves and in the name of science. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment to help us get greater recognition out there to inform the greater populace of the universe as a whole. Also, feel free to keep track of us through Twitter, as we'll be posting notices there every time something new is submitted for your viewing pleasure. We hope to see you all in the next video, no matter what world it may take us to.